Here we have a system of linear equations. Whenever that happens, usually what comes to my mind is solve systems for our graphing calculator program. However, in this case, because b is some unknown constant, we're not able to type in that coefficient. We don't know what it is. We're trying to figure out what it is. So let's look at a couple of approaches of how we could attempt this question. For me, the intuitive thing is the fact that they tell you x equals 2. I'm going to go ahead and plug in 2 for x in both of these equations. So that means we have negative 2 times the previous x, which we now know is 2. We'll put plus by equals 59. And we can do the same thing down here where we have 5 times 2 minus y equals 1. Now, the bottom equation looks a little bit easier to simplify, so let's start there. So we have 10 minus y equals 1, and we could go ahead and isolate y completely by subtracting the 10 from both sides. Notice we have a negative y, very important that you keep that negative in front. 1 minus 10 is negative 9. Finally, to get y by itself, we'll divide or multiply both sides by negative 1, giving you the value of y. Now, in this top equation, the goal is to find b. Now that we know that y is 9, not only can we simplify this to negative 4, and we still have the 59 on the right side, and we don't know b, but we could go ahead and plug in 9 for y. Now, at this point, we could use solver if we wanted to, because b is to the first power, but I wouldn't say that that's extremely advantageous, because it's not a very difficult algebraic equation at this point. I'm going to put 9b instead of b9. Here we get 63, divide by 9, and we get the answer is 7. And you'd be done. However, I do want to show you a really neat way that you could do it with Desmos, and then you could choose which of those two approaches you prefer moving forward. So we'll go ahead to the upper right corner where it says calculator, and if you had any equations in there from a previous question like I do, you click the gear icon and delete all. And if you're having a hard time seeing everything, you could press Control-0 to get to the standard viewing window. If you want to press Control+ to zoom in a little bit, you definitely can, which I did a couple times there. Now you could either use the keyboard they provide you, or you could just start typing, which I prefer. I'm going to type negative 2x plus by, and normally you can't use anything other than x's and y's, except for when there's one constant, in this case b, that we're trying to determine. So the fact that it says add slider, I can just press enter, go to the next line, and it'll create that slider for me. And down here, I'll put 5x minus y equals 1. So the third thing that we have to incorporate, I guess you could say the fourth, because we already have the slider as the second equation, they tell you the solution of x equals 2, which really is an equation. So we're going to put x equals 2, which creates this vertical line. One of those middle school tricks that I actually really like is the fact that this is a v, make another v upside down, you get an x. So anytime you have x equals some number, you get a vertical line. That's assuming that there's no y in the equation. If you have an equation that's just y, notice a y. If you look upside down, the way that I did it, it looks like an h for horizontal. So whenever it's y equals some number, you get a horizontal line compared to the vertical line when it's x equals. So we did get a vertical line here, this purple one, and our goal is to move the slider to figure out what would make it so that, there we go, the red line, which we could see right here, it's red, and the purple line and the green line all intersect at the same point. So let's go ahead and move the slider, see what we have to do. Oh, if we go this way, we're getting closer. Oh, I didn't quite get there. So I'm gonna have to go, let's see here. I go this way. Oh, that's getting me there. So I'm gonna go in this direction. Now, the only thing that I've already mentioned before, I love Desmos, I think it's fantastic, but it can be a little bit tricky to really dial it in, especially if decimals are involved. Notice my goal is to get it so that x is 2. And so I'm going to move this. Oh, there. Do you see that point? To get it to line up right there. I am at 7.1. Let me go to a whole number. It seems like at least College Board doesn't get too tricky with giving you a decimal as an answer, particularly for these ones where they're trying to find the constant. Notice I'm just clicking and dragging to get back here. And that looks really good. So 2, 9 is the ordered pair that they all have in common. And the idea is that we got there with b being 7.